What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an Odd Eyes Phantom Knight deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Braxton. And this deck is an amazing deck to play with just how well the Odd Eyes and Phantom Knight cards work together. This deck is also amazing because it's a fusion between Yugioh and Yugioh's decks, which is just absolutely crazy. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely give Braxton some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. This card is definitely a one of the deck and is just a really nostalgic monster to be able to play in this build. We then play 3 copies of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. This is one of the most important cards in the entire deck, and it's actually a vanilla monster that has a crazy powerful pendulum effect that if an Odd Eyes card that you control is destroyed by a battle by card effect, you can special summon out one Odd Eyes monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to combo with our copy of Sky Iris, because Sky Iris can pop cards and then search, and then this will give you a special summon, which is just super cool. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon. This card is definitely a one of the deck because of the amount of damage you can actually do with this card, but it's a definite one of in this build. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. This card is insane because you don't even have to use a ritual spell to be able to summon out this card to your side of the field, which is just so cool that you can just instantly pendulum summon this card out to the field without even using a ritual spell. And each time your opponent special summons a monster from their X deck, you inflict 300 points of damage to them, which is just super cool to be able to do. And this card is so good in the deck as a one of. We then play 3 copies of Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. This card has a lot of text, but you're only ever using one effect on this card to be able to discard this card to the graveyard, pay 500 life points, and then add a level 8 or lower Dragon Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, which is just a really good effect to be able to search out any of our Odd Eyes monsters, which is just absolutely amazing. We then play 2 copies of Odd Eyes Persona Dragon. Persona Dragon is great because this card is a low scale that you can use to be able to pendulum summon, and has a great on-field effect that once per turn, quick effect, you can target a face-up monster on the field that was special summoned from the X deck, and it has its effects negated until the end of the turn, which is a really cool effect to be able to use with this card, making this card a definite 2-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Perform Pal Odd Eyes Seer. This card is basically like Astrograph Sorcerer, which is amazing because you can actually target one Perform Pal or Odd Eyes card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, then destroy this card, which is a really good effect to be able to combo with our copy of Arc Pendulum because this card is an Odd Eyes card. So your copy of Arc Pendulum will actually go off, and this card can grab cards back from the graveyard like your copy of Revolution Dragon, so you can get an additional search, which is just really, really good in this build, and just about in any Odd Eyes deck, which is why I love this card so much in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Astrograph Sorcerer. This is one of the most powerful pendulum monsters ever created, and it works extremely well in this deck to be able to extend your plays. We then play for the Phantom Knight monsters. We're going to start with 3 copies of Torn Scales. Torn Scales is one of the best cards in the entire Phantom Knight archetype because this card is a walking foolish burial. If you discard a card to send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard, except another copy of this card, and if another Phantom Knight card in your graveyard is banished while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card back to the field but banish it when it leaves the field, which is a really good effect to just extend your plays. But this card is amazing as a 3-of in the build, and it's a card you usually want to open up in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Silent Boots. Silent Boots is amazing because this card is an awesome extender, and if you control a Phantom Knights monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can also banish this card from your graveyard to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect, and both of those are once per turn effects. But that's awesome to be able to add some rank up magic spells that we're playing in the deck, or even Fog Blade directly from our deck to our hand off this card's effect. We then play just a single copy of Ancient Cloak. 1 Ancient Cloak in this build is totally fine. You manage this card from your graveyard to add 1 The Phantom Knight card from your deck to your hand. It does have to have a The in the name, which is really important about this card and why I'm just playing a single copy in the deck. We then play a single copy of Ragged Glove. Ragged Glove is definitely a 1-of in the build, but it's just a really good 1-of that you can manage this card from your graveyard to send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the grave, which is super good in this particular build just to help you get cards into the grave. We're then playing a single copy of Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing is amazing as a one-of-a build because this card is always treated as a Phantom Knight card and a Raid Raptor card, which is amazing to be able to work with our copy of Arsenal Falcon because all of our Odd Eyes monsters between our copy of Phantom Dragon, Arc Pendulum, and our copy of Pendulum Graph, even the copy of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon are level 7, so we can make a copy of our Arsenal Falcon, which is really cool to be able to do in the deck for an extra deck monster we're playing later on in the profile. But this card is great to be able to extend your plays and also get materials off your copy of Arsenal Falcon, which is just really, really good. We then play 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. I know, Tour Guide in an Odd Eyes deck, what's going on? This card is really good because when this card is normal summoned to your field, which this card is the best normal summon in the entire deck, that when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 3 Fiend monster from your hand or deck, but negate its effects negate its effects while it's on the field, which is just really good to be able to do because we have 2 really good targets that you can actually summon off this card, which is a single copy of Graph, which if this card touches the graveyard, you actually get to special summon a Burning Abyss monster from the deck, except for the copy of Graph, and a single copy of Seer, because Seer, if it touches the graveyard, lets you target a Burning Abyss monster in the grave and special summon it back to your side of the field. Now, the reason you're playing Tour Guide in this build is because it's a 1-card Rusty Bardiche, because basically with this combo, you normal summon Tour Guide, you special summon Graph, you make Cherubini. Once you do that, you activate the effect of Graph. Graph will summon Seer, which gets you your 3 materials that you need on your side of the field to be able to make your copy of Rusty Bardiche, while your copy of Cherubini is a Foolish Burial for level 3s, letting you send any of your Phantom Knight monsters you want besides Raider's Wing to the graveyard, which is really insane because it'll get you an additional search, which is really nice. Plus, once you link away the copy of Seer for the copy of in the Cherubini away for the copy Rusty Bardiche, your copy of Seer will bring back your copy Cherubini to your side of the field so you can continue to link climb, which is really nice, giving you a free link to on your side of the field with a copy of Rusty Bardiche so you can make Appaloosa later on in the turn, which is really nice. So it really comes in handy to use this as your 1 normal summon in the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. This is the Phantom Knight engine, and this is the Odd Eyes package, which is really neat about this particular deck and how well they work together and how well they flow in this particular deck. Because another cool thing to note about these is that all of these are level 3, and a lot of these are level 7, so you can actually make Chaos Angel extremely easily. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is really good in the deck because it helps us get to our copy of Sky Iris extremely quickly. We then play a single copy of the Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch. We can actually turn our opponent's entire turn off with this deck, which is really insane because you can make DDD Duo King Cal Yuga in this deck, which is super cool. The amount of Arc 5 references this deck actually has. Being able to play DDD, Odd Eyes, the copies of the Raid Raptors, Phantom Knights. There's just so many references in this particular build that I've made, and I'm really proud of this deck because it's really cool. But this card is really good in the deck because it helps you rank up your copy of Arsenal Falcon into a copy of Duo King Cal Yuga to essentially cold wave your opponent's field, and it's a really awesome card to make in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Duelist Alliance. Duelist Alliance is really good because if there's a card in the Pendulum Zone, you can add a Pendulum monster or a Pendulum spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use. We then play 3 copies of Spiral Flame Strike. Spiral Flame Strike is really good as a 3-of in the deck because it lets you add 1 level 7 Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. You can also pop cards with this card if you don't want to add the card, but you're always using this card to be able to start to add Odd Eyes cards from your deck to your hand. So this card is really good to be able to get your level 7 Odd Eyes to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Sky Iris to round out the spell. Sky Iris is amazing because this card has a really good effect that your opponent can target Magician, Perform Power, or Odd Eyes cards in your Pendulum Zone with card effects. You can also target 1 other face-up card that you control, destroy it, and if you do, add 1 Odd Eyes card from your deck to your hand, which combos your copy of Arc Pendulum, because if an Odd Eyes card is popped, you get a special summon. So with having this and Arc Pendulum on the field, you actually get a search and a special from deck, which is really insane to be able to do with those 2 cards. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Shade Brigandine. Shade Brigandine is really good as a 1-of in the deck because it actually lets you special summon this monster to your side of the field as a normal monster that's a Warrior Dark, level 4, 0 attack, 300 defense. It can be activated the same turn it's set if you don't have a trap in the grave, which is really good because your Phantom Knight cards can actually banish themselves from the graveyard, such as your copy of your Fogblade, which is essentially like a Fiendish Chain, which is really cool. It lets you target a monster your opponent controls, negate its attacks, and it has the ability to negate it where it cannot attack, and has the ability to negate its effects, which is a really good effect, and other monsters cannot attack that monster while it's targeted by this card. But this card can also banish itself from the graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knight monster back from your grave to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field, which is a really good effect to be able to use in the deck. So this card is definitely a 2-of to have a negate in the build, and this card is just great as an extender in the deck. So that's going to do it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with a single copy of Rusty Bardige. This card is super easy to make in the deck with the tour guide combo that I explained to you guys earlier. And this card is really good in this particular build because during the main phase, you can actually send the Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the graveyard to set a Phantom Knight spell or trap directly from your deck to a spell and trap card zone, which is great to be able to do in this particular deck because it's actually going to put on your side of the field your copy of your rank up magic off this card's effect, or even Fogblade, which is really good. This card also has a great ability that if a dark monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, while this monster is on the field, then you actually get to target one card on the field and destroy that target, which is a really easy effect to pull off in the deck, especially when you can rank up during your opponent's turn. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is amazing for the arrows in the deck, and also it's very easy to make in this deck because it's a walking negate, and also all the arrows pointing down are really nice in this build. We then play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is great in this deck. It works with any Pendulum deck and also searches out Pendulum monsters from our deck to our hand, which is great. We then play a single copy of Cherubini. Cherubini is extremely important for the Tour Guide combo. Normal summon Tour Guide, summon out your copy of Graph, link them away for this, send any Phantom Knight you want from the deck to the graveyard. Also, alt the copy of Graph will summon Seer. Link them both away to summon out your copy of Rusty. Seer will bring back the copy of Cherubini, and it will get you this and your copy of Cherubini on your side of the field with any Phantom Knight live in the graveyard off of just normal summoning a tour guide, which is really insane. We haven't even Pendulum summoned yet. We then play a single copy of Breaksword. Breaksword is really good because you can pop cards on the field. Also, if it does get destroyed, you can special summon out 2 Phantom Knight monsters with the same level from your graveyard, and then increase your level by 1, which is going to help you make rank 4s, which is really good, because it's going to put those Phantom Knights back on the field as level 4s. We then play a single copy of Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight is really good as a 1-of in the deck. You detach a material from this card, and then summon out your copy of Arc Rebellion on top of it, which can also cold wave your opponent's field, and gets absolutely massive because it gains the attack of all the monsters that are on the field, which is just really, really good. So it gets really big and can OTK the opponent really quickly. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. You guys knew we had to play this one in here. This card is basically the entire sake of the deck. You make this card, and then you overlay a medium on top of it like a copy of Utopia the Lightning, a copy of Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon Overload, which can actually attack 3 times a battle phase, which is insane to be able to do to just OTK your opponent with this card if you go second, or if the duel lasts and you can actually make this card very easily with 2 level 7 Odd Eyes monsters. It's very easy to do, and it just OTKs the opponent. We then play a single copy of Absolute Dragon. Absolute Dragon is absolutely amazing. If this card Exy summon card is sent to the graveyard, which you can just link it away, you special summon out 1 Odd Eyes monster from your X deck except another copy of this card, which is always going to be your copy of Vortex Dragon that you're summoning off this thing's effect. We then play a single copy of Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon is easy to make because it's generic. So you can use 2 Odd Eyes level 7 monsters to make this card, detach a material from this card, summon Raider's Wing, link the Raider's Wing away, and then once you do, you can actually activate the Raider's Wing effect in the graveyard to detach a material off Arsenal Falcon. It will have no more materials on it, and then you can rank it up into DDD Duo Dawn King Kal Yuga. Kal Yuga is insanely powerful in the deck, and it's insane that you can actually play basically Declan's boss monster. That's insane that you can play it in this deck, but it has the ability that after this card is Exy summoned for the rest of the turn, other cards and their effects cannot be activated on the field, and other cards and effects on the field are negated, which is just really good to be able to do in the deck. You usually are never activating the other effect that once returned during either player's turn, detach a material from this card, destroy all spells or traps on the field, which you really don't want to activate that because it is going to destroy your basically your scales. You just want to be able to cold wave the field. But it also has the ability to detach a material in this card, target a dark contract, which you're never doing because you don't have dark contracts in the deck, and then you actually get to set that card back to your field. But it's still really good to be able to use in the deck to cold wave the field and essentially skip your opponent's turn. We then play a single copy of AA Zeus because we're playing so many XZs in the deck, and this card is just really good to be able to make on top of any of our XZ monsters. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is a great addition to the deck, very easy to make because all of your Odd Eyes monsters that are dragons are level 7, except Revolution Dragon, and all of your Phantom Knight monsters are level 3, so it just makes Chaos Angel extremely easily. You're only going to get the dark effect that monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, but it's still a really good effect to be able to use. We then play a single copy of Vortex Dragon. Vortex Dragon is really good in the deck because it's super easy to make with Absolute Dragon, and it's an insanely powerful card. One card I will mention, you guys, is there is a new card that's coming out of the new Battles of Legend Monsters Revenge. That is the new Odd Eyes Rebellion XZ Dragon. I don't feel like that card is that good in this particular deck, but you can change out one of the more pricey cards to be able to play that card in the deck over, say, a Chaos Angel. If you don't have Chaos Angel, you can change it out for this particular card if you do want to play it. It is a pop 2, I believe, on field, but that's not that great for all the other cards that we're playing in the deck. I really like the Arsenal Falcon turn skip with this, which is why I'm playing this over that card. But if you want to play it over the Chaos Angel, if you don't have Chaos Angel, that is an option for you guys, which is going to make the deck very, very budget. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy this one. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played an Odd Eyes Phantom Knight deck before, you definitely should give this deck a try, because it's really cool to be able to play a deck that's a mixture between like Yugioh's and Yuto's deck, which is just really fun to be able to do. And this deck is amazing. It's really cool to be able to turn skip your opponent, and it's just a super cool deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.